Hello BookTube. Today for Tag Thursday, I will be doing the GarbAugust Truth or Dare tag. This tag was created by Criminali, who has created the BookTube event GarbAugust, in which participants read trashy or garbage literature in the month of August. I'm going to leave a link to Criminali's channel in the show notes, as well as a copy of the questions and dares. So the tag is composed of a number of questions and a few dares. I will be trying to do, I'm aiming to do all the questions and some of the dares. Although I will also read out all of the questions and dares. Before I begin, there are a few points. I did participate in GarbAugust last year. I read, or aimed to. It did not go well for me at all. I think I only read, Belle Dawn, From Russia with Love by Ian Fleming, the one of the James Bond novels. I don't quite remember if there was anything else I wanted to read. I had another. Oh, no. Yes, there was. Because there's also a Conan pastiche novel I had to go at that also did not go well at all. So I don't know if I'm going to participate in this year's GarbAugust. I'm not all that enthusiastic, to be honest. So this might be my only bit of participation in GarbAugust. We shall see. Because as I kind of tackle the first question, I'm not entirely sure what garbage is. So let's go with the questions. So question number one, how would you personally describe trashy books? I don't know. I don't really have a firm definition of what trashy books are. Even though Criminali, Steve Donahue, others have tackled the question, I'm still not entirely sure. Because to a certain extent, the kind of using the term trashy books or garbage books kind of implies a bit of a pompous and pretentious and snobbish sort of definition of literature. Even if that definition is rejected, there's still that cloud in which the only good literature, the only worthwhile literature are the canonical works and literary fiction along with poetry and drama. And so basically all of genre fiction, science fiction and fantasy, mystery, romance, western, so on and so forth, they're all garbage. But that's not true. There's a certain kind of, I guess, there have to be certain things about a work of fiction, mostly genre fiction, that would then be, it has a little sheen to it or a certain quality to it that I'm not entirely sure about. I know some of the prompts for this year, I think they were the same for last year, like men's adventure. Well, is it largely those works that have been sort of forgotten? Or like Jackie Collins for another, like I guess the more romance side of things? Like, I'm not entirely sure. Or is it maybe like older works that are not likely to endure past a certain point, and so they have a certain trashy sheen to it? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's in the eye of the beholder and not necessarily a hard and fast definition, but I can kind of go, okay, this is a trashy book, this not so much, or I'm not entirely sure about. So I think in the next question, what's the trashiest book you own? You'll kind of see some of my, I'm not entirely sure. about this stuff. So, I would think most people would probably agree that The Sundered Realm by Robert E. Vardaman and Victor Milan is a trashy book. This is the first in a quartet of science fiction fantasy novels put out by Playboy, and it's, well, so I picked this up because I was on a sword sorcery kick a few years ago, but I really didn't like it, and how the hell it's still in my collection, I have no idea. I really need to send it on its way. But then again, I'm also thinking that, like, wouldn't Less Than Zero by Bret Easton Ellis be a bit trashy? Because, and so a lot of Bret Easton Ellis's works, actually. Or maybe even Frisk by Dennis Cooper. Wouldn't this be considered trash? And then, again, almost certainly The Moon's Deep Circle by David Hawley would be considered trash. So I'm not entirely sure. And so sorry, but it's like no really solid. I have like what exactly garbage is. I don't know. Okay. Prompt number, or the next question. What is the trashiest situation you have ever been in? Well, again, I'm not going to, I do have kind of an answer, but I don't consider that trashy. Some people might, but I'm not. So I'm going to go with a point where I had a mental issue when I was a junior in high school. And the previous year, I was involved in Texas, it's called UIL, which is sort of the governing body for sports and other interscholastic competition. And I was a part of there's an academic competition. And in my sophomore year, I did exceedingly well. I won the regional meet, I won the local meet of the district competition and the regional one. And I placed in the top 10 in the state. But the following year, I had a mental breakdown. I had issues. And I took the trophies that I had won. And one of those trophies was quite nice, and I threw them in the garbage. So while, in a way, I didn't necessarily get into the garbage, I guess my actions in a certain sort of way could be a bit trashy, I guess. I don't know. And then another incident, when I was younger, much younger, I think it was like maybe not even 10, maybe slightly older than that. We went to the beach at Galveston, and me and my brother got like covered in oil or something. It was disgusting. Which I don't quite understand what happened that day, but anyway. Okay, next question. Have you ever read a book so spicy that you ceased to be master of your domain? Or which book has the best smut scene you've ever read? So I've never read a book that has made me lose myself in that way. I mean, it basically has to be, film. Kind of does that. But since the question's a book, we're not going to go there. So the book with the best sex scene, I think, I think I would go with the sex scenes in The Swimming Pool Library by Alan Hollinghurst. I think this one has some fairly good ones, or at least as good as you can get. Although this one has some too. It's just an insane, bizarre plot. So I think I'd go with that. Next question. Have you ever given or received a trashy book as a gift? If so, what was the book and their reaction? So I've never gotten a trashy book for a gift. I mean, again, it's like, what exactly do you mean by trashy books? So no, I've never given or received one. Next question. Did you ever read trashy books from your parents' shelves as a kid? Yes, I got into my mom's romances when I was a teenager and dipped into some of those. Next, so on to the dares. Show your favorite book with a spicy cover. Well, I don't necessarily have a favorite book with a spicy cover, unfortunately. So I can't help you with that one. Although, I guess, this kind of has a spicy cover now, doesn't it? Not that you can necessarily really see it all that well. It's not a favorite, though. It's horrendously bad. And not in a good way. Read out a trashy, spicy paragraph. No, I'm not going to do that. Show a book you own, but you wouldn't read in public. Big Fight Island by Reben Ike. And then show a clip from or link to your first BookTube video. I guess I could try to do that. I will try to do that and see how that works. So anyway, BookTube, that was the GarbAugust Truth or Dare tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. And I'll be back tomorrow with hopefully 2 videos. I know I wanted to do some videos yesterday, but they didn't quite turn out. Maybe I should try to make the YouTube discussion one into a tag and maybe give it a little bit of that tag structure to talk about. But I'm also thinking about doing a video about some reading plans for August. Because even though I know well enough that I really should not be doing my back to school reading project, I kind of am going to. And so I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to, try to talk myself out of it or not. I don't know. But I also want to really look at forthcoming releases later on this year that I've got pre-ordered, because I maybe need to really think about not pre-ordering all of them, because there are a lot. Particularly, there's a deluge coming September 5th. That should really put me off of book buying for the rest of the month. But anyway, and then of course there'll be weekly reads, which will largely be a few manga and then one really big book that I've been reading that I'm not entirely sure about. But anyway, BookTube, until I see you tomorrow, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.